This next luthier started building guitars in 1972 under the tutelage of Jean Lerve. She's based in Toronto, and she's built guitars for the likes of Pat Metheny, Carlos Santana, and there's another one, Julian Lage as well. And I'm talking about Linda Manzer. Now, I've actually featured her indirectly before on Acoustic Tuesday because she was part of the Group of 7 guitar project, which was a project where 7 Canadian luthiers used famous Canadian paintings inspired by the Group of 7 to actually build guitars, to inspire guitars. Now that's something you should definitely check out, aside from Linda Manzer's guitars specifically. And in fact, I want to say it was Acoustic Tuesday 24. I might be wrong. Do you know, Noah? Off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head.
I think it was in the 20s. I'm willing to bet it's in the 20s. You can find it at acousticlife.tv. Just kind of click around. There's going to be, it's entitled The Group of 7 Guitar Project. It's very, very cool. But again, aside from that, Linda Manzer is an incredible luthier. She's built beautiful guitars for Pat Metheny, just a regular 6-string guitar, but also the Picasso guitar, which has a ton of strings, and then a guitar with even more strings called the Medusa guitar. This guitar has more strings than I think anybody knows what to do with. In fact, I think she built it for, and I'm just trying to go by memory here, Henrik Anderson. Does that name sound right? We were talking about this earlier.
That was it.
But the guitar is just, I mean, it's got a fretless neck, it's a baritone, 6-string, it's got a whole bunch of everything on it. And I just think that she is, I think she's one of those luthiers that everybody needs to know because of her history and experience in guitar building. In fact, again, she's built so many guitars for Pat Metheny. Her and Pat have a really cool relationship, and I found an interesting interview that was done by D'Addario, asking questions of the both of them in the same room. So it was cool to get Pat's perspective on his relationship with Linda. So actually, let's have a look at a segment of that right now.
One of the really cool things about going around and playing gigs and having a couple records out or whatever is the chance that you get to meet great guitar makers. And I consider Linda one of my best, most important collaborators.
Right. Had you actually, I don't know whether I heard this story correctly, but had you actually just approached Pat with a guitar?
I sent a letter backstage at one of his concerts. His road manager came out and found me, and I ended up talking to him, and then they suggested that we go back to the hotel and take a bunch of guitars, and Pat played the whole concert over again in the room.
Linda handed me her instrument, and it was instantaneously a completely different experience for me. And the way the notes went from one register to the next it was exactly what it is I'm always looking for, which is it sounds like one instrument and it's very connected. And her guitars consistently have that. And they sound incredible.
For that full interview, you can go to acousticlife.tv/AT58. You'll be able to see the full thing. And one of the highlights of that interview for me is just to listen to the way that Pat talks about Linda as one of his greatest collaborators. I mean, it's just kind of it's a cool perspective, and one that I think is just worthy of noting. Now you're probably wondering, like, cool, well, she builds all these cool guitars, 6 strings, these crazy guitars, even arch tops, but what the hell do they even sound like? Well, I found this really cool clip of Tony McManus, who I mentioned 3 episodes ago now, in the 50s, Tony McManus playing a Linda Manzer guitar, and this particular guitar is a sitar guitar. It's not a sitar, it's not a guitar, it's a sitar guitar. You might even be able to call it a cigar. That's not the name of it. But I found a cool clip, so let's have a listen to Tony McManus playing a Linda Manzer sitar guitar. So again, to find out more about Linda Manzer and her amazing work, please go to acousticlife.tv/AT58. You'll be able to learn a bunch more about her and see some of her really impeccable craftsmanship. I mean, her instruments are, they're wild. I mean, she has standard models, quote unquote standard models, but I've looked at a full gamut of her instruments and I cannot see one that's alike another. I just can't. So really a true craftswoman, I should say, to be proper. But go to acousticlife.tv/AT58 to learn more about her.